The Zombies vs. Noobs series, or the ZvN series, are a group of games created by the developer Divisor. These games are comedic military shooters that tell the story of a long series of wars between the titular factions, the Zombies and the Noobs. Now, these games are permanently ingrained into my childhood Roblox memories. Realish in particular is one of the first Roblox games I ever remember playing, and even to this day it is just as fun as it was all those years ago. So recently, as I was playing the game, I decided to stop and actually read some of the cosmetic and weapon descriptions for things that I've obtained over the years. And oh my goodness, this sent me down a rabbit hole. Because these games, for all the ridiculous jokes and relatively simple gameplay, also tell a story. A story that spans multiple games, multiple years, and apparently isn't even finished yet. But more on that later. So buckle up, friends, and be sure to like and subscribe because we are incredibly close to 10,000 subscribers. Because today, we will be diving into the full lore and storyline of the Zombies vs. Noobs saga. So the majority of the story beats take place in the game ZvN Realish and ZvN Tycoon 2, but there are some minor plot elements taken from Red vs. Blue Noobs Tycoon, or whatever that was called. However, they aren't really much, so once I get to it, we'll just briefly skim over it. The first thing that's necessary to tell you all, before we dive into the actual story, is the factions that we are dealing with. The story revolves around three major factions: the Noobs, the Zombies, and the Humans. The Humans are just humans. The series begins in the aftermath of World War III, which sees humanity toppled from power, and the Noobs and Zombies filling the void. The Noobs are humanoids who are alive, but lack brains, leading to their trademark stupidity. This is the explanation for their yellow skin. The first noob to ever be created is known as the King of the Noobs, and he established the Royal Noob Guard, and from there on out, established the entire Noob faction. Created by the radioactive decay that was used to create the Noobs, came the Zombies. The Zombies are basically the flip side of the Noobs. They possess most of, if not all of their brain, and are just undead. It's important to note that Zombies eat brains to replace their old ones when they decay, whereas Noobs love to fill the void in their skulls with cake and tacos, which they call taquios. Or whatever. I'm not stupid, I'm not saying it like that, it's weird. And despite lacking a brain in the Noobs' case, or lacking a life in the Zombies, both sides are competent enough to form organized militaries, complicated societies, and engage in all-out war. So we'll just have to put all of that aside. So now, with all our factions explained, and all our characters introduced, it's time that I tell you the full story of these games. Our story begins during the climax of World War III. Humanity is once again locked in a global war against itself for unknown reasons. The war was brutal, and more so than any other previous human conflict, there has just been so many losses. But things are about to get even worse. Two new factions have emerged. Some say that they were created due to the fallout of the Third World War, some think it was human experiments gone wrong, or maybe they've just been here the whole time, and no one has noticed. Whatever their origin, the Noobs and Zombies began to arrive en masse, and they swiftly obliterated the remaining human forces. Humanity was toppled as the dominant life forms on Earth. The age of the Noobs and Zombies had begun. Shortly after World War III's end, the Zombies began making deals and alliances with beings of the underworld, who lived deep in the Earth's core. Meanwhile, the Noobs had a Red Noobs vs. Blue Noobs civil war. Once the civil war ended, the Noobs quickly began to form alliances of their own, thinking the Zombies would soon attack. They chose to ally with the Guests, aliens from the moon who gifted the Noobs with highly advanced technology, which allowed them to surpass the Zombies' capabilities. With humanity at its weakest, and with their new allies on their sides, the Noobs and Zombies went to war once again. Despite putting up a good last stand, humanity was no match for the two giants crushing down on them, and quickly, humanity went extinct. Zombies and the Noobs' war was furious. However, thanks to the Guests and their advanced technology, the Noobs ultimately won these wars. It's important to note that the maps played on in these games all happen in a somewhat chronological order, and each are telling parts of an actual battle that took place in the history of these wars. The final battle of the war was fought during the Dedication Defense event in Realish, where the Colossal Zombie led his team of elites to try and obtain the source of the Noobs' power and advanced technology. The raid failed, and with one of the Zombies' biggest leaders dead, this ended the war, for a time. The Noobs and the Zombies entered a brief truce overseen by the eccentric scientist and billionaire zombie known as Trickler, who became a leader of the Zombies following the Colossal's death. He invited some noobs to the zombie mazes to play a game with them, but the whole thing ended up being a trap so that he could perform experiments and other horrible things on them. Beings from the underworld attacked the noobs, and the event ended with many noobs being lost. Trickler used these fallen noobs to develop powerful technology. He used their rage and combined it with firewood to create the ray weapons for the zombies. He stole the noobs' technology and created the pyromaniac weapons, and most deadly of all, he took the noobs' very DNA and used it to create the mutations that we see with the injection game pass. With this new tech, the zombies were able to climb the tech ladder and catch up with and possibly even surpass the noobs. The noobs stole these technologies back later on, but it was too late. They had already begun to lose the war. This all culminates in the final level, Last Stand, where we see Trickler using killed noobs to summon hellhounds to finish off the noobs in their final fortification. It's unclear whether the noobs are meant to die here or if they canonically win this battle, but since apparently ZvN Realish 2 is in development, perhaps they survived. Only time will tell. But before I end off this video, I want to explain the whole Trickler thing and maze stuff. In ZvN Tycoon 2, the zombies' weapons are inferior to the noobs. They use castle siege weapons and war balloons, whereas the noobs use helicopters, planes, and tanks to advance their stuff. This all changes when Trickler is put into the picture. Suddenly, by the time of Realish, the zombies and noobs are using the same technology, and even some of the zombies' weapons state that they were specifically stolen technology. Specifically with the injection and rage items, the rage set can only canonically exist after the maze level, which is after Trickler's experiments ended. As for the injector, there are only 2 levels where it cannot be used, those being the dedication event and the maze, which would make sense if Trickler hadn't yet made it yet. And there you have it, friends, the full story of the ZvN series. This was really nostalgic for me, and I'm really glad I was able to actually make this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to like and subscribe, because once again, we are super close to 10,000 subscribers, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.